Hi everyone, this is Tara with Tara's Take. I hope you're all having a great day. Welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me today. So yesterday we worked on a journal cover and I had mentioned that we would go ahead and do some more work on that in the next video, so I'm back to do that. I've pulled out this cloth I had showed you yesterday that we made the inside or the foundation for the front of the cover, and we did all of the gluing down of our patchwork collaging with the cloth. Okay, so today we're going to go ahead and make a matching oh, what do you call it? I can't think. Well, it's going to be the closure in two folders, but it's basically a fabric snippet roll. There we go. I couldn't think of the word snippet. So anyway, okay. So what I do with this, you're going to need your materials. I've gone ahead and torn down some more of the squares, and I've added this lace. I think I'll go ahead and put that onto the closure part here. And then I've torn squares for my other pieces of fabric I had chosen. Got a new glue stick ready to go. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure this, and what you're going to need is a piece that is going to measure. So here's what I do. I take my, if you don't have a cloth long enough, you can go ahead and glue it together. But what I do is I go on the inside and I lay it out like this and measure where I'm going to want my pocket to be, and I go just slightly over, and then on the other side just slightly over, and then I measure a second one, okay, like this. And so that is gonna make the two pockets. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this piece as a whole, and then I will measure again and add just a little bit because it's not going to be quite enough for my closure and my pockets. Now if you just want to do a closure, you can go ahead, and all you'll do to measure that is you're going to wrap it, you're going to take it and wrap it around your journal, okay, your piece of fabric, and then you'll know, depending on whether you're going to do like what type of attachment you're going to put on the front. I usually used some type of a brass hook, or I also love to use kilt pins to do this. Some people use a band that you can sew onto the inside, and then they have like a button. I saw an awesome video this morning, as a matter of fact, by Dragana on Sasibo, and she did the most beautiful snippet roll closure. If you haven't seen it, you should go see her because it is gorgeous. And she used a button, a wooden button, and then she used like an elastic that she sewed into the other side of her snippet roll. So when you pulled it around, it attached into it. So I may try that one very soon. It's beautiful. So anyway, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it just, I want it to be over enough so that I have room to work with to fold it in, because I usually use, let me see here, I'm going to grab one of my kilt pins. What I usually do when I'm done is I bring this in and I make sure, and then I either sew it or I use a hot glue gun and I glue it. So I want enough on the length of this going over the edge that I make sure and have room, okay, first of all for the stretch, and then I also want to make sure I have room to do the tuck that I do. So mine would be, you know, about 1.5 inches or so on each side, and that's how long I want my fabric to be, because it's going to be about 2 inches wide, okay. However, that's how long. So we'll go ahead and do that right now, and I'll show it to you when it's actually measured out, and it'll make more sense. Okay, so I'm going to cut this, and like I said, it's going to be about yay wide. Let's see. Let's go ahead and measure 2 inches. Okay, and we're just going to because we're going to build on that. And you're going to tear that down. Okay. Get rid of those loose strands. And I am going to have to add a little bit to this. Like I was saying, it's not quite long enough. That's okay. I love to make the pockets on the inside out of the snippet roll as well. So when you open it, there's that matching effect, you know, and it looks really pretty. And at least on this type of journal, I like to do that. So, and I figure I might as well show you guys the whole enchilada, how I do that. So what I was talking about before when I was showing you on the fabric, you're going to bring your journal in, and then here's going to be, I'm going to want this, like I was saying, about yay long, okay? So now as you can see, if I'm going to have that maybe just a little bit less, there we go. So if I'm going to have that around that long for my actual closure, when you bring it on the inside and you measure that out, that's about almost a pocket. So all I really need to add to this is about another inch on this piece, and then I'm going to take my full piece here and I'm going to measure it out. And what I'm going to do is, since I only need a little bit more, you can see, to get that, I'm just going to go ahead and come out just a little bit, okay, so that I have that extra for the rest of this side and the other side, okay? And so I'm going to snip that right there and tear it, and then I'm going to go ahead and just hold it against this one and measure it here, okay, and tear that down. Okay. And that should, yep, should be fine to build on, okay? I may have gotten that second piece a little narrower, but it's okay. It's not going to matter really. I'm building with those blocks, and of course it's close enough. See, it's going to be fine. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and get these ready in my glue. I don't really need any scissors at the moment. And all you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take this and you're going to glue this piece to this piece, okay? And you don't need it very much, just about a half an inch, you know. If you've measured it to where you want it, you don't want to put a ton right there. You don't need to. Okay, and I'm going to use, I'll just go ahead and use the glue stick. Put it lightly here, and then press that together. And after we're done putting the blocks on and designing the collage on here, what we're going to do is sew it like we did with the actual cover. And another thing I'm going to show you before we sew it, we're going to go ahead and do some, I think probably before I sew it, we'll go ahead and do some of the crinkle seam binding, because that way when we sew this together, it'll be sewn over that, and it gives it a pretty cool grungy vintage country effect. You'll see, it looks nice. So it's fun to just sew over the seam binding too. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead, and all I'm gonna do is take that right there. So I think I'm gonna try to do what I did yesterday instead of going onto the material. I think that was a little faster and a little less messy for me. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start gluing this kind of at an angle. That's a little too straight, you know, a little bit at an angle there. And well, I guess I could try it this way. I'm gonna do it on the paper. That way I don't have to clean up the glass. I can just throw away the paper. And remember, you can leave out that little corner. You don't have to put glue on that little corner that you're actually going to have sticking out over the edge of your snippet roll. Okay. And this time I'm going to try to remember not to put these on the wrong side. That was funny. You know, mistakes happen, right? And it's okay. That's okay. Let's do a little piece of lace. See, now I've brought a 5th. I should have brought this in yesterday. What I was concerned about was that it wouldn't have the right effect, but then I started really looking at it and I'm like, you know what, it's going to be fine. Because then I'd have had that 5th design in there. But it'll look good. It'll still look good. I promise. I'm just going to keep gluing these down quickly. Like I said, you know, I'm probably even using a little too much myself. You don't need a lot because we are going to sew. Okay? And once you do that, you'll see it holds together very nicely. Let's see, which one are we on? Which one? Here we go. I don't know if any of you ever saw The Emperor's New Groove. Oh, I used the wrong one. But when I say which one, that is Isma. It just comes to my head, that cartoon, that silly cartoon. And me and my husband recently, he had never seen it, and so I showed it to him like 2 weeks ago. So it's in my head. I apologize if when I'm going to pick something, I'm like, which one? Does anybody else imitate movie characters like me? Okay, it's something my family always did. My kids do it. We all do it. So hopefully I'm not completely alone in that. So let me know in the comments if you guys are doing this with me. I sure want to know. I would love to. Or if you plan on doing it, and like what theme are you going to do? What colors, you know, are you going to utilize, and all that good stuff. I'm very curious to know. Very curious. And what is everybody going to do over the weekend? My husband asked me if I wanted to go to the movies this weekend, and I was like, well, I kind of want to stay home and work, you know, and do this and get some videos made and work on my other journal, because I've still got some stuff to do to that blue one. It's been sitting there and I have not worked on it, and not really worked on it in a few, so I think I'll probably stay home and do that. And which you know, guys, for us that's not even like work, it's play. You know, I get everything done around the house and all that good stuff, and I make dinner and I do everything I'm supposed to, but at the same time my head a lot of times is over in the corner at my desk, you know, thinking about what I'm going to do next, what project I'm working on, or what's going to be, you know, my next thing. So yeah, I mentioned Dragana's video. Seriously, you guys, you should really go see it. It is a beautiful piece of work she did, and I cannot wait. I think that's going to be one of my soon coming. I'm going to have a play, you know. Maybe I'll bring you guys along and try to do it. I don't think I can do it as good as she did, but I can practice though with you guys, right? But if you get a chance, go over to her channel, Sasibo. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And watch it and let me know what you think. She does such beautiful work. I first saw her on one of my Facebook groups, and I really enjoy everything I've seen her do. She made some beautiful little charms too that I really need to get to work on and do some of those. There's just certain things I do, and certain things that I love and I don't really put my hand to a lot, and that's one of them. Like, I've made dangles and stuff for my journals, but I don't make them as often as I'd like and as I should, you know. So maybe that'll be a good that'll be a good video for me to do, because it'll get my collection caught up, get my stash, you know. So see, we've got that, and it's gonna look like that. And the fun thing is, though, once we're done and we start decorating with our lace and our trim and all those fun things, you're gonna see how all of this will come together, and I think you're really gonna like it. It's it kind of looks like it's gonna blend in right now, but I promise you it's going to have its own special standout quality. So let me see here. I'm on the lace. I hope I cut enough. Oh, and if you guys got to watch the video before this, the one that we made the cover, I'm sorry that it was so long. I had to splice the merge, you know, the 3 videos, and I've never used a video editing program. This was the first time. I promise I'll get better. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sit these in the right order, and that way I keep picking them up in the right order. Let's make this not harder. Let's make it easier, okay? Okay, let's see. Now we got this one here. There. Okay, there we go. I'm good now. So I can quit getting confused about which one to pick up next. They'll make this much faster. Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to apologize that the video was so long. I had to, my phone kept shutting off my video whenever I moved it. And the thing is, I have a Samsung Galaxy phone, and when it's not in its case and the sides are open, it's super hard to touch. I find it hard to touch it without like causing it to do something that I'm not really wanting it to do. And yesterday it kept on turning on and off, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know. So I quickly loaded a a video editing program onto my computer, and I proceeded to merge these 3 videos, and it worked. I was so glad it worked. And so from now on, I will be able to, if something like that, you know, God forbid, should happen again, I will know how to fix it. And I will also feel more confident in the video and be like, you know what, I don't have to address this. I just need to make sure my timing is right. And I'm also going to practice on figuring out how to trim, you know, and cut it down and stuff, so that and maybe quicken the pace on some spots. Like right now, I could actually, you know, make this go faster. But I don't know, I kind of like this time to talk and chat with you guys and let you see the full process. I know I've heard Tina say that, and I kind of love that about her videos, that she just takes me through the full process, and I get to, oh, there's a bug on my desk. Ooh. Did you see that in the video? He flew down on my stuff. Anyway, that I get to, oh, there he is again. Sorry guys, hold on one sec. Okay guys, I'm back. I took a minute to get the fly, and it turned out to be a fly. And now I am back to do some more of our lovely snippet roll. So, okay, and I got me a cup of tea. So anyway, okay, so let's see, we're at this already. So anyway, what I was saying was, I went ahead and I learned how to do the merging of the videos with the editing. So now I'm going to practice, you know, having a little more clean things, you know, like when I take a break, hopefully learn how to make it a little smoother transition, or when I, you know, maybe I'll do some fancy stuff like other people do, and like quicken the pace a little bit and slow it down and do some talkovers or something. Who knows? But for right now, you guys are stuck with me the way I am until I learn how to do all that, because I am teaching myself. So, does anybody else out there feel as intimidated by the editing of a video as I do? I know I can learn it. See, I used to do voice, I used to do audible reading for, you can actually download this app. It's called LibriVox, LibriVox, and it is free books, audible books that are actually, it was started for folks who could, who were blind or, you know, handicapped and couldn't read. And so I was you volunteer, and anybody, as long as they approve you, once you're approved, anyone can volunteer to read for LibriVox. And so I actually have a few books I did and a few chapter collaborations I've done. If you look me up on LibriVox on the app, Tara Mendoza, Terra, you can hear me doing some of my readings. And so anyway, the fun thing about that was that they provided you with the program. Everything was free. It was, I think it's called, I can't remember it right now, but it's a really cool editing program. So I learned how to edit audio with that, and I had a microphone, and I recorded, you know, in a quiet room in my home, and then I would edit the whole thing myself and submit it to the folks at LibriVox. They would then go through and check it, make sure I'd not missed anything, let me know what I had missed or if it was good to go, and then they'd publish it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I would love to do that again, but it is very time consuming because it's reading, you know, out loud, and you have to have time to do that, and then you have to have the time to actually do the editing. So I thought about doing it again, but so far I haven't, because I'm kind of busy doing this and doing my Etsy shop, and so and you know, I just have so many hours in the day like the rest of us. But anyway, if you're ever interested in hearing me read, that's where you can find me doing audible books. So that would be fun if any of you ever hear it, or just to listen to anyone. My goodness, you can go on there, and what it is it's any book that's in the public domain. Okay, so once it's in the public domain, it's free to record in that way. And you know, they say that at the beginning of the reading, you know, this is so and so with LibriVox reading such and such. This book is in the public domain, and it gives the date and all that good stuff, and of when it was read. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. But it's a very awesome free service for the handicap, and for, like I said, for anybody that knows about it. It's just, it's one of those things that most people don't necessarily know about unless they have a handicap. So anyway, oh, this one's not wanting to stick. Come on, go. And has anybody else ever done anything like that? Any editing for anything, or you know, in general, like with movies, videos, audio, all that good stuff? Just curious. And if you have any advice for me, please leave it in the comments. I appreciate any and all advice from those who are more knowledgeable about this type of thing than myself, because like I said, I am teaching myself, and any help is appreciated. So I don't know if we're gonna do anything other than the norm this weekend. I'm pretty boring. I'm trying to think of exciting things to tell you guys, and there's really not a ton of exciting things to tell you. I mean, you know, I drove before I was doing this, and after I worked in the law firm, I still can do this, I just haven't gone and done it, is drive for Uber and Lyft. And I don't do the food, I do people. I drive people around, and I've had a lot of people ask me, weren't you afraid? Just so everybody knows, no, I was not afraid. I loved it. I love meeting people, and you know, at first it was a little weird to have a stranger in my car. I do always feel like I need to entertain them, and so, you know, I had to kind of learn how to tell when somebody really just did not want to talk, because most people, for the most part, they're not going to be rude to you. And so if you start chit-chatting, they'll usually, you know, talk back. But if you pay attention, you can kind of tell if they don't want to. But anyway, yeah, I used to do that, and I haven't driven in about, I want to say about 10 weeks it's been that I've been staying home and doing full-time on my Etsy shop and now the channel. So yeah, but when I did, my point was going to be that, you know, I had a captive audience. I had this person or people in my vehicle for however long the ride was, and I could always think of things to tell them, because I'm kind of, you know, I've mentioned to you guys, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, I'm actually an ordained pastor. I'm not active anywhere in any church or anything right now, but I was licensed with my first husband back in 1997, and we were ordained in 2000, and worked in mostly outreach type ministries where we went into prisons, we went into, we went out on the streets and ministered to the homeless, to the prostitutes, the incarcerated, all that kind of stuff. We went into the shelters and did that. We did a lot. My late husband especially, did a lot of work with the incarcerated. His testimony was such that he had been incarcerated when he was a young kid and a youth, and he really had a heart for folks who are struggling with that. And so that was my ministry. And then also in church, I was, as I mentioned, I was a praise and worship leader, and I was a soloist, you know, in my churches and stuff that I went to. And so that was what we did. But when I'm in the car and I'm in person, it's kind of funny. I'm just a testimony person. I tend to just share my you know, whatever comes up. And when I'm on this video here, I'm like, okay, I have to be, you know, I don't want to offend anyone, and I don't want to say the wrong things, but I'm, you know, I'm very transparent about my faith. I have no problem talking about it. But that's not what I'm here for. I am here to tutorial and hang out and craft. But yeah, so when I talk about stuff, it tends to be like about my life, you know. So I'm sitting here and I'm trying to figure out what can I talk about, because my day-to-day life is very fun as far as crafting goes, but it's, you know, I don't really do a whole lot. I've had quite a life. I mean, we all have. I think everybody's got a story to tell. We don't all get an audience to tell it to that's, you know, large, but we all have a story that our life has, you know, a route that our life has taken that people find interesting, or that people can relate to, you know. But as far as my day-to-day right now, I'm pretty much staying home, hanging out, cooking, crafting, and enjoying life. I am so blessed. My husband, he's very sweet. He's very understanding, and he loves that I'm getting to stay home and do this. I'm a kind of that woman who loves to stay home. I know there's not a lot of us. Most women, I think, like to work or get bored at home. At least a lot of women I know say that. I've never gotten bored at home. I've always been one of those that was able to entertain myself. So yeah, so I'm not bored. But I think there's always something to do. Gee, when I'm not doing this, I'm doing something, you know, around here. So, or I'm going on errands, going to the store, I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, I've got projects. I like to do, I like to not build things, but I like to put things together. I like to reorganize my house. I love that. So I'm always finding something fun to do. You know what I mean? How about you guys? Do you guys get bored staying at home, or do you like being at home? Do you wish you could be at home? You know, what's your story? I'd love for you to share with me in the comments. Part of me wishes that I could do these videos in a more live setting so I could actually hear you guys and we could talk and have fun and laugh and enjoy it all, but we are limited in that aspect, I know. So we're almost done. See? It was pretty quick. Wasn't too painful, I hope. I hope I have enough material here. I think I will. I think I will just have enough material. Yeah, okay. Let's see. I want to make sure it's, there we go. So as you can see, I kind of go back and forth making sure that it goes off the edges. I know that it does not look like much right now. As when you're getting your hair done, my mom would never she was a beautician when I was a kid, and she would never let anybody see their hair until it was finished, because she's like, it does not look like it's going to look when it's done. So you can't look at it. I'm kind of like that with this. This does not look like it's going to look when it's done. I promise you, when we decorate this little baby, it's going to be pretty. And surprisingly fancy looking if I do right and decorate it the way I like to. So let's see. Okay, put that one on there. Oops. My fingers got sticky whether I liked it or not. So it's funny, I can't stand the feeling of the glue on my hands, but I work with glue all the time. One of the prices we pay. I think I mentioned that yesterday. Glue. Okay. And these little patches, just keep them to the side, and you can use them on other parts of the journal. I have made little mini pockets with these inside the journal on ephemera. I've used them for just all kinds of stuff. So you never throw away anything until you're absolutely certain you're not going to use it, or you just don't want to use it, because it is totally possible to make it work on some other aspect of the journal. Yeah, like I said, I've done pockets. I've also done I've done what do you call it, like just little little tiny, little squished up, like I've put them in, like to make them into like a little flower. Yeah, so there's lots of fun ways that you can utilize them. I'm going to do one more piece of this one on this end, kind of point it outward, and I think I'll throw this right there. I think I'm going to put that straight down on that little center part. Kind of breaks up the monotony of that being too much of the one color right there. And so yeah, there we go. We've got our snippet roll. And how long is our video right now? We're at 32 minutes. So what we're going to do today is we're going to let this dry, okay? And then I'm going to come back tomorrow and we will sew it, and we will go ahead and begin to decorate our journal cover. I hope you guys had a good time with this step of the journey, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night.